us all that while we have a political process which has got us a huge distance, and that even to talk about having a peaceful parade and protest is indeed huge progress for here, I think it reminded us that it's very fragile. If something had gone wrong, if it hadn't worked out as it did, everybody was aware we were on tenterhooks.
Over the next 3 years, we're going to see more bickering and more frustration created by the inability of two parties who represent the problem here to find a means to ending their disagreement and to create conditions in which genuine reconciliation will take place. I think that they will not be capable of doing that.
For these soldiers, this parade wasn't about politics. For them, it was about those soldiers killed and maimed.
As far as I'm concerned, this is what the day's about. Also remembering us, but remembering the wee lads, that they're still at hospital today. Some of them, like maybe 4 or 5 months they've been in there now. They've been there for the next couple of years. And people that we have lost, not only in this tour, previous tours as well. This is also for them as much as it is for us.
Lieutenant Colonel Tom Trinick saw the bloody effects of war at first hand. He was based in the Army Hospital at Camp Bastion in Afghanistan.
In our 3-month tour, we had, I believe, 11 British soldiers who were killed. The soldiers' injuries ranged from explosive damage, which might include, sadly, traumatic amputation, so they might lose a leg or an arm, and it would range right through to gunshot wounds, to the chest, abdomen. I think these young men make an extraordinary sacrifice for the good of their country. They, of course, don't go out to get injured, but in the course of their duty, they're put in these hazardous situations, and they bear their injuries remarkably bravely. Many of them are desperate to get back out to support their colleagues.
While he fully supported the Royal Irish Regiment's march in Belfast, he also supports the rights of those who protested against it.
The protest was not particularly intrusive, and indeed it's nice to have the democratic right to protest if that's the way you feel, and I think that's very welcome. Taliban do not allow protest, and so it marks a strong difference between our situation here and the situation of the young men where in some cases laying down their lives to bring about in Afghanistan.
Others agree that the right to protest is very important.
Our protest was always going to be peaceful, dignified, and that's exactly what we delivered on Sunday, because that's what the families who have lost loved ones here through the conflict by the hands of Britain wanted, and their wishes were granted as well.
In democratic societies, people disagree, but people have the right to express themselves freely as long as it's purely peaceful, and also people have the right to protest as long as it's purely peaceful. And as long as if we could agree those rules, I think that would be something that would be very important and set us into a new era.
My great-grandfather's sacrifice, my grandfather's sacrifice, and my own service. Very, very proud of.
One former soldier who can trace his family's military history back to World War I is Philip Hamilton. He makes the journey every year to the War Memorial at White Abbey, despite suffering from arthritis in his knees.
I go down to White Abbey and watch the Legion Parade, and it gives me time to reflect on comrades that I've lost, good friends. I've lost many a comrade, and it's this time of year that you start thinking about them. I think we're very busy in our lives, and this time of year is very, very important, because this time is their time. It's their memory, it's their remembrance. It's a very, very strange feeling you get. It's a grief feeling that you get, a sense of loss, but yet a sense of pride. And what happens is, my comrades I've lost, for that minute's silence, I see their faces.
The events of the last week have provoked debate over how far our divided society has come. The question is, will there ever be a day when we can remember all the victims of the Troubles together?
Hopefully that's a day that we can all strive to get to here in the North of Ireland. And maybe that's a day where we could possibly all come together to obviously commemorate all the victims here who have died here in Ireland, and who knows where it could be. It could be in the Falls Road, the Shankill Road, or even somewhere like here. If we all can remember that there's no hierarchy of victims here.
I don't believe in the equivalence of victimhood by terrorists who carried out violence and the innocent victims of that violence. So I think, however, at the end of the day, these are matters that are best decided by the victims themselves and their families, and I would respect entirely their views on that issue.
Certainly there will come a time when we can remember together, both nationalists and unions together in the one ceremony, or in the one way, those who died during the course of the Troubles. And I think that that would be a genuine act of reconciliation in our society. I think that we're a good distance away from that, but it would be a very good thing to do and a very good thing to aim at.
If we could get to the point where we could acknowledge that what happened here was a tragedy, that the victims of Trouble paid above all, and find some ceremony in which we could acknowledge that, that would be a huge breakthrough.
The controversy surrounding the homecoming parade shows there is still a long way to travel before our past can be laid to rest. But its relatively peaceful passing is undoubtedly a positive step forward.
It's important that we continue to build on that goodwill, create that goodwill, and in that way we work towards a situation in which genuine reconciliation can take place.
If we're talking about a shared and better future, how do we express culture and our political differences here?
The fact that we didn't have violence on the streets this year is a sign of, I think, some maturity and the give and take that has marked our peace process in the last 10 years.